Good morning, everybody. So Becca and I have left our Airbnb in Orderville, Utah, and we are on our way to cross state lines to head to Arizona. So we're going to be in Arizona for the next 3 days, I believe. We're going to check out the Grand Canyon for a couple days, and we're also going to try to explore the Antelope Canyon. And then after that, we'll be heading back into Utah in order to check out Arches, Monument Valley, and Canyonlands. But right now we're going to travel through time a little bit as we cross into Arizona because they apparently don't follow daylight savings time, so they're actually an hour back right now. And we will catch you guys at the Grand Canyon. All right, good morning, everybody. So Becca and I have now arrived here at the Grand Canyon. We're in the North Rim today, and we're going to be doing a little bit of hiking today. First, we wanted to see if we could do some mule rides, but yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little too heavy still to ride the mule. You have to be 220 pounds or less in order to do any of the trails, so we're not there quite yet, but we'll try that maybe next time we visit the Grand Canyon after TQM Trims has continued on for a little longer. But we're going to be doing a couple of trails here. We're starting with the Bright Angels Point Trail, which is only a half-mile round trip, but you get to see a good overlook of the canyon on 3 sides from the observation point, so we should be able to get some pretty good pictures there. And then after that, we're going to be taking the, what's it called? It's like the Transcends Trail. It's down below the name of the trail. And basically you just walk along one of the sides of the North Rim. So we're going to check that out. And then depending on time and energy remaining from that, I'm going to try to talk Becca into doing part of this trail where you go into the canyon. Now we won't actually go all the way down to the bottom because that'll just kill us. But we might go down a little bit just to see what views we can see and to get a little more strenuous exercise in. So Becca was giving me some sad faces earlier because she's not looking forward to that. So we're going to see you guys at Bright Angels Point, where we hopefully get some really good views of the canyon. All right, everyone, so we went over to Bright Angels Point, which was very beautiful. It was really hard to get all of the scenery in just with the one camera that I have and panning it around because the canyon is just so big and every aspect of it really looks really pretty. So I tried my best to get what I could, but we got to take it all in, and then the hike was pretty easy. It was only, again, half-mile round trip, and it was a little steep though, so we still had to stop for a couple of rest breaks. But now we're going on it's called the Transept Trail, which is this way over here. And basically, this is just going to walk along one of the edges of the North Rim here. And then after that, we'll connect to the main road that came over to the visitor center. And at that point, we're going to decide if we're just going to walk back the way we came, or if we're going to try to go into the canyon a little bit to try to get a little different perspective. So we're going to catch this trail. This one's supposed to be pretty easy. It's a bit longer. I think if we were to do it round trip, it's about 4 miles total, but it's fairly flat, I believe. So it should be more of a walk rather than a hike, but it should be pretty enjoyable still. So we'll catch you guys at the next intersection where we decide if we're heading back this way or if we're going into the canyon. Hey everybody, so we finally made it here to the North Kaibab Trail. At least that's how I think you pronounce it. But this is the trail that goes down into the Grand Canyon towards the river. But we know for a fact that we can't make it that far. We're just gonna go to what's called the Coco Nino Overlook, I think it's called. It's supposed to just be sort of an overlook into the canyon. It's about a half-mile hike down, which means it'll also be a half-mile hike up. And I think the elevation change is about 800 feet or so. So that's our goal for today. So Becca, are you ready to do this trail?
Yeah.
I canyon think we can do it. Hey everyone, so we started coming down the North Kaibab Trail. It's the trail that goes into the canyon. We've come down about 800 feet or so to the Coco Nino Overlook, or at least what we think is the overlook. And as you can see, we have a really nice view of the canyon. It's absolutely beautiful here. It's a good deal warmer down here further into the canyon than it was up at the top. And also the other thing we really noticed with taking this trail is it smells terrible. Because the mules that they use for the mule rides down into the canyon also use this path. So there's a lot of mule poop all over the trail that we're trying to avoid. So we have 800 feet now to climb back up. So we're gonna take our time with that, but that's really gonna be it for our trails after that. Then we just have to walk back another 1.5 miles to the visitor center. So we still have a little bit of a walk and a hike ahead of us, but we'll catch you guys at the top of the canyon. Hey guys, so we're on our ascent now. We're only about halfway up, I would say, from where we started, and we're just exhausted already. We're taking breaks every like 2 minutes, it seems like. We had to let a couple of mule groups pass us, so that was cool. We got to see some of them coming up the canyon. But this is brutal. Good thing we didn't go down much further because we would both be toast. All right, so I'll see you guys at the top. All right, everybody, we made it up here to the top. So we're all finished up with our elevation climb, but unfortunately, we still have another 1.7 miles to walk back to the lodge where our car's parked. We're taking a different path. It's called the bridle path this time. It's actually more along the road, so it'll be a little bit flatter, I'm hoping. So that's what we have left for the Grand Canyon experience today. After that, we're gonna get back in the car and hit the road and head to our next Airbnb in Page, Arizona, and then we'll see you guys over there, I'm sure. All right, everybody. So we finally made it back to the parking lot to our car in order to head out of the Grand Canyon. So let me show you sort of where we walked today, because I think today was the longest hiking day that we've had so far. And I said that yesterday at Bryce Canyon, but I think today was even more. So we started here at the visitor center, and we took this little trail here called Bright Angels Point Trail, and it comes over here. And this is only a half-mile trail one way, so, or sorry, it's only a quarter-mile one way, and then so a half-mile total when we came back. Then we took this transept trail all around here to this point here. That's about 2 miles. Then we took this little, about 0.3 mile path on the bridle path in order to get to the North Kaibab trailhead. And then we would just walk down this little section here to the Coco Nino overlook. That's 0.7 miles one way, so we did that 2 ways. And according to the map here, the elevation difference from here to here is about 800 feet. And then we took this bridle path back here and all the way back down to the visitor center for another, just like, I think it's 1.5 miles or so. So if you add all that up, that's a pretty good amount of hiking that we did today. It means tomorrow, we're probably not going to be doing as much hiking. We're going to be heading to our Airbnb in Page, Arizona right now. And then tomorrow, if we do any Grand Canyon stuff, we'll probably go check out the South Rim. And I've actually been to the South Rim before. And what we did then was we just sort of drove to these overlook sections that sort of you can see out into the canyon, but you just drive up to all of those and you get some pictures and then leave. So we might do that. We're also going to try to hit up Horseshoe Bend as well, which is a really popular spot from the Grand Canyon where the river just makes a really nice bend in the canyon. So we're going to try to check that out as well. But again, that's another spot where we just drive up and we don't have to worry about hiking as much. So tomorrow might be a little bit of a rest day as far as hiking is concerned, but we should still be able to get some beautiful panoramic views. We'll still have a good time. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. Becca and I are now here at the Grand Canyon again, but this time we're at the south rim of the canyon. So we went for a little 2-hour drive from Page to get here. We're at the watchtower right now, which you can see behind us here. It's just sort of a nice little tower we can climb up to go get a nice panoramic view of the canyon down below. So I've actually been to the south rim here before a couple years ago with one of my coworkers, but that time we just sort of drove through in different spots and took pictures along the way. This time we might do a little bit of a hike, but it's not really a vertical hike this time. It'll be more of just along the rim. And the nice thing about this side of the canyon is there's a shuttle that runs along to the different areas where you can take pictures. So we might just walk down a ways and then catch the shuttle back here where we parked our car, do something like that. And we're just going to explore the Grand Canyon a little bit today, so we'll catch you guys a little bit later. Hey everyone, so Becca and I are now here on the Rim Trail. This is about, I think it's 12 miles long or so, trail along the South Rim, and as you can see we have some spectacular views along this entire trail, I believe. So yeah, we're just going to be walking along this trail for a good part of the day today. It's supposed to be paved and pretty flat, so it's not going to be a whole lot of vertical nature like before. Just sort of more of a relaxing day than yesterday. So we're going to continue along the trail. I'm going to check in a little bit because we got to talk about some stuff that happened last night as well, so we can tell you about our Airbnb and and stuff also. So we'll catch in with you just a little bit later. All right, so I hope there's a little less wind, but before we continue along the trail here, we had to talk about a little bit of some of the occurrences from last night and yesterday afternoon. So first off, one of the things that we've really been lucky to see throughout this trip so far is we've gotten to see some really cool wildlife at the different parks. So what all have we seen that was interesting? We saw a tarantula at Zion. We got some prairie dogs at Bryce. Was it Bryce or is that?
I think so.
And then we got some like close-ups of squirrels and different birds. But yesterday was probably we got some turkeys yesterday, but different deer, yeah. But yesterday, as we were leaving the Grand Canyon towards our Airbnb, we were lucky to see a herd of buffalo crossing the street. So we got a couple of video clips of those. And then we get to our Airbnb yesterday. So first off, the drive to the Airbnb was amazing because we get to this little like grassy field surrounded by different plateaus, and the sun was setting, so the sky was like pink and orange. It was really pretty driving in towards our Airbnb. And we get to this Airbnb and it's literally just this old couple's house. They rented out one of the rooms and they're serving us breakfast in the mornings, and it's really nice so far. So if you're ever doing a tour for the Grand Canyon or anything and you're looking for an Airbnb to stay in, we are staying at Young's Bed and Breakfast is what it's called. I'll put a link to their Airbnb page down in the description below. But are you ready to continue, Becca? All right, we're gonna keep going along the trail and we'll catch in with you guys a little later. All right, everybody. So we went around the rim trail for about 4 miles or so, then grabbed something to eat, and now the sun is starting to set. So we're here at Grandview Point, which is along the road back towards the east entrance where we came in. And we're gonna just sort of look for a good spot to try to set up my camera in order to get some good sunset shots, and I might even try to set up to do a time lapse as well if I can with my other camera. So we'll try to get set up, and we'll see you guys probably after we're done all at the Grand Canyon today. All right. Well, it's been quite an eventful evening. So we got to Grandview Point to do some sunset pictures, but unfortunately we were just a little bit too late. A lot of the canyon was already in shadow, but I think I still got some pretty good pictures. I tried getting a time lapse. It'll be a bit shorter than what I'd hoped, but we'll see how it turns out, and if it's good, it'll be in this video. So then after that, it was starting to get dark really quick, and you could actually see the Milky Way again, and I was like, I'm going to try to get some more Milky Way shots then over here at the Grand Canyon. So we walked over to the Watchman's Tower where we first started here at the Grand Canyon today. And I tried to get a couple pictures by the canyon and also with the watchtower in the foreground with the Milky Way. I think I got some good ones. And then the walk back was a little bit creepy. The whole night experience was creepy because, one, it was pretty cold, so Becca wanted to stay in the car, so I went out by myself. It's super quiet right now because there's no one else out. It was just me, so it was a little eerie sounding because there was, again, nothing, just the wind blowing. And then on the walk back is like trying to rush back to the car because I was getting cold. And then I get up to this like little nature area and there's like little beady eyes, it looked like. It might have just been reflections from my headlamp off of some metal surfaces, but I swear I like rounded the corner too and like they were still sort of reflecting off in the corner of my eye. So I was a little iffy about that, but I made it safely here to the car. But now we're going to head back to Page in order to get to our Airbnb. We'll probably find some dinner on the way back and we'll catch you guys in the morning tomorrow. Hey everyone, so you might have noticed that it's actually Wednesday now, but I realized last night that we probably should go through a recap of the Grand Canyon since we went to both the North and the South Rims. I figured we'd sort of quickly go over that before we get started with our actual day today, which will probably be a separate episode. So, Becca, what did you think of both the North and the South Rims? Which one did you like better?
The North Rim was nice and quiet. It had less people. They had some decent trails, some nice views of the Grand Canyon. But the South Rim, the Rim Trail, was definitely more unobstructed views along the side of the canyon. But there was a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, so I'm fairly similar on that. I think the South Rim overall is prettier. It's more photographic just because I personally like the bare red rocks part of the canyon, and you really get that at the South Rim. And the trail that we took, the Rim Trail, was almost completely unobstructed. You could just walk along the whole trail and just look out into the canyon pretty much everywhere, whereas in the North Rim, we took that Transept Trail, which goes along the rim, but a lot of that also dips into the forest, and then when you get to look out into the canyon, you see a lot of canyon face covered in trees as well. So, but like Becca said, the North Rim was much quieter and had a lot less people. So if you really want to do hiking and like more in peace, I would actually suggest probably the North Rim. I thought I'm sure the trails going into the canyon are fairly similar, and as an experience, and I know a lot of people actually will go down one and then come up the other. So that's definitely something that you can do as well. Not something we were going to be doing this trip for sure. But if you want more peace and quiet, definitely go for the North Rim. And if you want to sort of have more of that iconic Grand Canyon scene, then your best bet is probably the South Rim, but be prepared for bigger crowds. It was harder for us to find a parking spot. We had to park a little outside of the visitor center area and take a shuttle to get over to the main trail. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But we're going to get started with our day today, where we're heading to Antelope Canyon and also Horseshoe Bend, and we'll see you guys in that episode.